What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Got a really exciting video for you today because we're going to be taking a look at some more of the Final Faction action figures. And what you see in front of you is all of the Kharn figures, and I'm very excited to finally achieve this particular collection. It took quite a few months to actually get all of these figures. They didn't come in all the same wave, so I kept looking and looking and looking to find the complete set. The toughest ones to find in my area were Diabol and Crepitus. They were shipped along with the P-131, which I also have, which basically completes, I believe, what is everything that's currently available. I have the two vehicles. I have all of the Alpha team as well. However, I must put in one little caveat about this, because what I noticed on the back of the P-131 is they have 5 more characters pictured here. So my guess is that there will be another wave, or maybe several waves, that include these 5 characters, including Amari, which I'm actually surprised they're releasing a black and gold version of her, because for those of you who have that character, she's already dressed in a black and gold outfit. So I'm wondering if they're going to re-release the same exact figure, or if they're going to change it up in some way. I'll be curious to see that character in particular. It's definitely one of my favorites of the original wave of the Alpha team. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do with that. Hopefully it's not just a straight up release of the same figure, that they actually change it in some way to make it more unique. But I have all these other ones, except for the ones that are yet to be released. I have never seen these. In fact, I've never even seen pictures of them online. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm also curious what they're going to do with Churro. That's definitely one of my favorites of this particular toy line. It's like a little robotic dog character. So I'll be curious to see what they're going to do in terms of the recolor, the recasting of that one. So when I find out any information, I will try and let you know if these things are actually coming, or what's pictured here is just a hypothetical. My guess is they would not put this on the packaging if they didn't plan to do it. So, but we're going to cover the Alpha team in a separate video. This video is going to be focused on just the Kharn figures, and I will do a separate video for the two vehicles as well. So I'm going to cover all this eventually, but for now, let's focus on just the Kharn. So I want to start by taking a look at all of these in the package, and later on in the video, we'll get all of these open, and I'll show you side-by-side comparisons with the earlier releases. So these are the limited edition Venom versions. So they did the limited edition of the Kharn and also the Alpha team, and like I mentioned, the two vehicles also got the special limited edition treatment. So so it's basically a recasting and a recolor of each of these figures. So this is the Hive class drone, and on the back of the package you can see the write-up on the features of this particular character, and they show picture of all the other characters in the line. I really like the recolor. Obviously, with the Venom stuff, they've done basically things all done in black and green, and I think that looks really cool. So that's the drone. Next up, we've got the Hive class Brute, and once again, just a recasting, recolor of the original figure. And on the back of the package, you can see the write-up here on the Brute, so you can see what that says. Next up, we got the Synthoid, and I gotta say, of these, I think this recolor is probably the most interesting one. I always like the casting of this, but was never that much of a fan of the coloration of it. So I think this recolor actually works really well. So this is the Hive class Synthoid, and then on the back of the package, you can see the write-up here on this particular character as well. So very cool. Next up, we got the Diabol. This is the general, the leader of the Kharn group. He doesn't come with any accessories, but very cool casting, and very happy to have it. Once again, you can see the write-up here. And one thing I noticed on Diabol, they mentioned another character called Queen Malara, which has not been done as a figure. So I'll be interested to see if they decide to actually render that out and show us what Queen Malara actually looks like. So that's maybe something they will do in the future. So, but Diabol looks cool. Next up, we got the Bounty Hunter Crepitus, another cool looking character, and he comes with all the same accessories, just recast in a different color. And then on the back, you can see the write-up here on Crepitus. And last but not least, they did the crawler, which was part of the sort of perimeter defense kind of releases. And there's actually 2 crawlers in here, just like the original release. And I love the sort of vibrant color of the legs of these. So this looks really cool. And on the back of the package, you can see the write-up on the crawler. So all these look really cool in the package, but I'm anxious to get these open so we can take a look at the details up close. So stay tuned. Okay, so we got all these out of the package now, and we'll take a look at each of these up close. So we'll start over here with the drone, and I think it's looking really cool. As you can see, it's cast all in black with sort of green highlights, and they recast the weapon also in the sort of neon green color. And overall, I think it's looking really fantastic. As I mentioned in my previous reviews of these figures, these are held together with screws, so they can be taken apart and customized if you want to do that. And just for comparison's sake, we'll show the original version. As you can see, the original version was done in sort of like a purplish gray color, and the weapon was done in sort of like a light blue. So you can see the difference, and I am liking these new versions quite a bit. The old versions were pretty cool for the most part, but I definitely think this is an upgrade in terms of the recolor, the recasting. Everything looks really cool. So that's the drone. Next up, we got the Brute, so you can see what he looks like. Really cool on the head sculpt. Love those horns on each side of his head. And these don't have a ton of articulation, basically 5 points of articulation. I've shown that before. Hip articulation and also head rotation. But for what they lack in terms of overall posability, they did a really good job in terms of the sculpting. Once again, cast in black. It's got the green highlights and the red eyes. And they recast the weapon again in that sort of neon green color. And for comparison, I can show you the original version of the Brute side by side. As you can see, the original version was done again in that sort of purplish gray color, and the weapon was also done in gray. So definitely liven things up in terms of the recolor. So I think these look really cool, and very excited to have these. And once again, these are sold at Dollar Tree stores. They only cost $1.25 each, so you can build up a really decent collection of these without having to spend a fortune. It's really just a matter of being able to find the figures themselves. As I mentioned, it did take me quite a while to actually assemble this particular group. I had to go to more than one store to actually find the entire collection. So, but yeah, eventually I achieved it. And hopefully those of you who are looking for these figures will have equal success, or maybe better success than I did, and be able to collect the entire collection. So there's the Brute. Next up, we got the Synthoid. And once again, I think this one is probably my favorite in terms of the overall upgrade of this figure. Mainly because this one looks really badass. The original version was done in like a two-tone gray, and I think this black and green version looks so much cooler. So very excited for that. And as I mentioned in my original review of the Synthoid, this does have the removable arms, so you can actually swap it out. And just so happens, one of the accessory sets actually had a swappable arm that was done in green. So I think this one actually would work pretty well for this. So if you plug that in, it actually works out pretty well in terms of the overall color scheme. So yeah, some of those older accessories will work pretty well with these new figures. So not all of them. Some of the colors are a little off in terms of actually fitting in well, but this one in particular does work quite well. Next up, we got Diabol. And again, he didn't come with any accessories, but overall, I think this is cool. And since I do have the new version of the Rumbler, I'm glad I was able to find Diabol, because he is the correct figure to actually pilot that particular vehicle. So this is pretty cool. And you can see he's got the red eyes and the green highlights. And like I mentioned, there are some accessories that they released before that will work quite well. So you can see this one, you can basically plug that in to the back of Diabol. And actually, because it's done in that green color, it actually works out quite well. So general Diabol is looking really cool. And I can show you side by side with the original version of Diabol. You can see he was done in sort of two-tone red color. I definitely like him better in the sort of black color. You could see the details of the sculpting a little bit better in the original version, but definitely enjoying this recolor. I think it looks pretty sweet. Like I said, in most cases, this new version does seem to be a bit of an upgrade to the original version. So that's quite nice. And next up, we got the Bounty Hunter Crepitus, and you can see what he looks like up close. And once again, recolor done in black and green. And he includes the same accessories as the original version. These little blades kind of swing out of the way. So if you want to have him hold on to a weapon, you can actually retract those sort of blades and move them backwards. He also comes with this sort of little flea accessory, which fits on his shoulder. It doesn't fit too securely, though. It does have a tendency to fall off, just like that. So that was a flaw with the original figure as well. And I can show you side by side with the original version. So you can see the original version was done in sort of like a grayish color. He did have green blades, but they're done sort of in a slightly darker green, whereas the newer version, they're sort of that bright, almost neon green color. So overall, very cool to have a new version of Crepitus. So that's very cool. And last but not least, we got the Crawler. And as I mentioned, this does come as a 2-pack. So basically, these are pretty similar, a slightly different paint job on the sort of body of the creature, but essentially they're the same and don't have a ton of articulation. There is a little bit of movement with the legs, and also these pincher arms also pinch back and forth. And I can show you side by side with the original version of the Crawler, which I really like too, done in sort of like that purplish gray color with gold highlights. But this new version is very cool looking as well. So very excited to have the Crawler. And I'm guessing this one will probably be the one that sells out very quickly. I noticed that the original version of the Crawler did seem to disappear quite quickly. Maybe it's because there's 2 of them in a pack, or maybe just because it's one of the coolest ones. And there were other perimeter defense items that were done for the Kharn. So it is possible they might redo those in the sort of green and black Venom color scheme. But they haven't been announced yet, and they haven't been pictured anywhere, so I'm guessing they may or may not materialize. I will probably pick them up if they do remake those, so we'll just have to wait and see. So here you can see I have assembled all of the Kharn figures up to this point, including the 2 other perimeter defense items right up here. They haven't announced whether or not they're going to redo those in the new color scheme or not, but if they do release them, I probably will pick those up as well and review them here on the channel. If you're interested in seeing more of my reviews of Final Faction stuff, I have a playlist on my channel which contains all the previous videos I've done about this toy line. So I'll put a link in the description if you want to check out those videos. They have detailed reviews of all the previous figures that you see here. I will also be doing at least 2 more videos about Final Faction. There will be a detailed review of the limited edition Alpha Team figures that I have currently. I have all the ones that have been released up to this point. And I will do a video about the 2 vehicles that have been re-released as well, the limited edition version of the Aero ATV and the limited edition version of the Rumbler. So all those videos will be upcoming on my channel, so feel free to check those out when I release them. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more reviews like this in the future, think about subscribing to my channel, because I will be covering a lot more of this kind of stuff in future videos. Until next time, I hope you're having a great day, and thanks for watching.